Hello, loves. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly community oracle poll. We're going to be doing live readings. For those who are new here, who've never been here before, this is where I like to do something to give you guys access to low cost readings. So this is why we come here today to do low cost readings. So we're going to be pulling from oracle cards. If you are a Patreon member or a channel member, your reading is actually already included within your membership. So you can go ahead and drop your question in the comments. But for those who are Patreon members and channel members, just put in your username or the name that you have on the Patreon or on the channel so I can cross you guys off, because I have a list and I want to make sure that I can get to everyone. My fro is like not even and it's bothering me. No, it's this side. I always forget that. Yeah, it's this side. This is where it is. And right there. Boom. All circular. But hello everybody. I hope that everybody is doing amazing. With that being said, for those who are Patreon members, go ahead and drop your question with the oracle deck you want me to pick from below. For those who are not and would like to get a reading from me, just send $5 to $10 to my Cash App or Venmo, which is the same as my username. So OkaniLuna with the money sign in the front, because that's how it is. Let us pick the oracle decks for today. So let's pick some fun ones today. Yeah, I think we're going to do these today. So these are the available decks for you guys to use for this session. So we have the Butterfly Oracle deck, which is this deck is for life changes. So if you want to know like what's up and coming, like what's coming up, what shifts are happening, that's the deck to pick. This is the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. So you guys can pick from that one. The Messages from the Mermaids Oracle deck, which is one of my favorites. The Wisdom from the House of Knights Oracle deck, which is also it's a favorite. It's also a favorite. The Nature Speak Oracle, which is one of my favorites, and as always, the OG. I feel like this is just. This is the one that I feel like that needs a disclaimer. So the Arcana Deck is a shadow work deck. So it's not meant to be used like willy-nilly all of the time. This is a deck that the ancestors will choose to basically read you through the filth. So it comes with a warning. If you do not want to get read to the filth, do not pick this deck, okay? But if you don't mind getting read to the filth, by all means, that's the deck for you. And then I think I'm gonna pick Archangel Michael too, because it's Archangel Michael. You can't say no to Archangel Michael. Anyway, so we already have questions. We're gonna be here for like an hour. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hey, Lana. How is everybody? Oh my God. For those who are also going to want like a longer version of a reading from me, I am currently having a special on all of my services are 50% off right now with the code This Is Halloween in all caps, because your girl is celebrating Halloween and I want to do something special. So you guys can use the code This Is Halloween in all caps. Technically one word, This Is Halloween, together in all caps. On my website, if you're on TikTok, the link to my website will be in my bio. If you're on YouTube, it will be in the description bar. But yeah, so definitely take advantage of it, because there's like probably like I think 2 weeks left to use it. So definitely take advantage of it. Okay, so we got Valentina. It's the first part. Okay. I love reading, working through my religious trauma. You can pick any deck you like. It's funny because Archangel Michael or the Nature Speak Oracle wants this one, and I'm like, ooh, which one? Which one indeed? it's interesting to me that I feel like Archangel Michael is going to win this one. It's interesting to me that we're talking about religious trauma and then Archangel Michael wants to take this one. So we're just going to like, we're just going to do it. we're just going to do it. We're just going to listen to Archangel Michael on this. Okay. So Valentina Flores, working through. I came out real fast. We're just going to get one more card. Okay. Archangel Michael said, I said what I said. This reading feels very much like I said what I said, but let us talk about it. So the first card that you have, when I first saw this, I was like, I just started laughing because of this, because of the question, because you're asking about working through religious trauma, right? And the first card that comes up is self-respect. Okay, so you guys know that when it comes to this deck, which is the Archangel Michael deck, each card comes with a prayer. So we're going to read the prayer out loud together. Okay, we're going to read it together. And it says, "Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see myself as you see me through the eyes of love. Thank you for honoring and respecting me. Please guide me to do the same for myself and grant me the courage to speak up on my own behalf. I ask for your protection in all of my relationships so that I am surrounded by loving and kind people." The next card that came up was prayer will help the situation. Okay. And the prayer goes, "Dear God and Archangel Michael and anyone else who you pray to, I ask for your divine intervention." It says parentheses, describe the situation. "I welcome your help and I trust and follow your guidance with gratitude and grace. I need a miracle and I ask that you send me one in this situation quickly. Thank you and amen." Okay. And then the last card is believe and trust. Oh, okay. And the prayer goes, "Before going to sleep tonight, say, Archangel Michael, please enter my dreams and replace fear and with faith and trust. Let me be filled with strength, courage, and confidence." So it's really interesting the way that this whole thing is coming up, because I think that part of this is also ancestral. That's definitely a big part of this specific reading. But the self-respect card says a lot, because it's the first card that jumped out. Now, when it comes to religious trauma and religious indoctrination, and a lot of the religious trauma that we're dealing with today is very much passed down from our ancestors, because they had to deal with this. In this lifetime specifically right now, you are in a very privileged position to be able to dissect all of those things. Your ancestors did not have the luxury to do that. And that's something to keep in mind when it comes to the way that the cards came out, okay? Because one, you are getting self-respect, right? And for you, this can look like so many different things. It is respecting yourself enough to be honest with yourself about how you feel, respecting yourself enough to hold your ancestors accountable for their role in maintaining oppressive systems and passing that down to you through your bloodline. Right? Okay. Self-respect in a way that you specifically focus on moving forward in a way and healing the core thing, right? It's something that has a lot of layers, but for this specific card, the message is very clear. It's you needing to process religious trauma and religious indoctrination, and very much that being a colonial trauma. You needing to process that is something that is going to take you on a healing journey within yourself. It's going to take you on a healing journey within your own ancestors. Is going to actively create a space where you are going to want to heal, but it's also a lot of the things that you need to heal might not always be super clear from the get-go. Like certain things are going to look a certain way before you realize that it is connected to something else. In part is about how you respect yourself, how you allow other people's narratives, other people's kind of viewpoint, other, like, especially when it comes to religious indoctrination is complicated as it is already, right? It's a very complex thing. It's a very hurtful thing. It has so much layer of so much oppression in so many other aspects of our lives, that it can create a state where it feels like we're submitting to something, and it feels like we're not respecting ourselves and the truth of how we feel about it, right? So part of that self-respect for you in healing yourself is for you to respect yourself enough to allow how you really truly feel in the moment, within those situations when you're being triggered, when you're annoyed, when you're like pushing away. Those moments, you need to make sure that you are honoring yourself in the process of that, of what your body is doing. Because if you're rejecting something, if you're repelling something, if you're like, I don't want to have anything to do with this, or you know what, this is very triggering to me, this bothers me for some reason, I don't know what it is about this that really, really bothers me. You have to honor that. That's part of the healing. That's part of you dissecting and breaking down those boundaries, is you respecting yourself enough to not push it away, not submerge it down, not like, hide it away and make it seem like, it's not really there. It's you honoring yourself enough to respect yourself enough to say, hey, no, this is bothering me. Hey, you know what? This is not something that I can be okay with, or this is not something that I can stand by or approve. It's complex, okay? But you need to keep in mind that part of the process of you healing religious trauma is you also loving yourself enough to listen to your truth in the process. It's not necessarily something that is going to be super clear all of the time, which is where this comes in handy. Okay, prayer will help the situation, because this has to deal with the ancestors, and there's certain things that need to be addressed with the ancestors within your own bloodline about this. You actively are going to have to pray for strength, for clarity, and also when it comes to maintaining your intention about how you go about healing this, praying for that strength, praying for that clarity, praying for those opportunities to come so that you can address things head on. Some of it is going to have to be you working with the ancestors directly, which means that you're going to need to be in open communication with them as well. Then you have believe and trust. Okay, believe and trust. Because part of the thing about religious trauma ancestrally is that there can be a lot of issues with, looking at different aspects of I'm speaking to this specifically because I come from a very mixed culture, right? And so there's many different aspects of my mixed culture. Like, even if I look at our national religion, right? I'm Dominican, so our national religion, even technically, is Catholicism, right? For DR is technically 21 divisions. 21 divisions is a mixed blend, right? It has different influences, 3 roots, right? Same as the ancestry, right? 3 roots in there. And so when I am trying to look at different aspects of what's being practiced in that moment, I can see, oh, this is the European influence, this is the African influence, this is the Taino influence. Like, I can clearly see the differences, right? And so when it comes to looking at things from a different perspective, let's say I'm doing a reevaluation and I don't necessarily want to practice or follow or be in alignment with the European stuff. Maybe I'm trying to focus more on the other side. That doesn't mean that just because the way that ancestrally you are forced to believe and trust and follow a certain structure, that you can't believe and trust the other aspects of yourself, the other aspects of spirituality that are very much passed down to you through your bloodline, because there's still a process of you healing that is not just one-sided. It's like a process. It's not just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very much a journey. But in order for you to maintain that journey and still have conviction with your own spiritual journey and maintain that self-respect, because also part of, you know, you respecting yourself when it comes to religious indoctrination and religious trauma is you recognizing what practices you're going to continue to carry down the line, right? So that includes you believing and trusting in what you are currently practicing that resonates with you. As you are healing religious trauma, you also need to recognize why the things that you are currently practicing, why those mean enough to you for you to continue that work down the line. It's a journey of sorts. And it takes a long time, but it's something that I feel like you it's not just going to look one way, and I don't want you to think that is going to look one way, and I also don't want you to think that you're going to be able to heal this in a day, because it's just, you know, you're not going to be able to heal it in a day. That's kind of it. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to heal in a day, and it's important for you to recognize that. That it is going to be a journey of you respecting yourself enough to sit with what you're comfortable, sit with what resonates, what feels right for you, and then believing and trusting that and following that. It's going to get easier down the line. You're going to get more comfortable, you know, doing it, but it's a journey. It is a journey. That is your reading, my love. I hope that it makes sense. And I hope that you got all of the messages that you needed. Okay, next we're gonna do black coffee. For anybody that wants to do wants to get a reading, I'll just repeat the spiel before I start the next reading. So if you're a Patreon member or a channel member, your reading is already included. So you guys can just put the question in the comments with the deck that you want me to use. Okay. With that being said, if you would like a reading from me, but you're not a Patreon member or channel member, you can just send $5 to $10 to my Cash App or Venmo, which is the same as my username. So OkaniLuna. For Cash App or Venmo, I think you have to put the $sign before that. So there you go. But yes, so we're gonna do the next reading. So we're gonna do black coffee. Any deck I am pregnant and due next month. Anything I should know or be doing. Okay. This one was very straightforward as far as which deck wanted to take it. So we're going to do the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. Okay. Any messages for black coffee on what? Okay. I kind of had a sense that this is what was going to come out, but it's just funny to me. Okay. So the first card that came out is Divinity. Okay, Divinity. And before anybody asks me what deck is this is the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. Okay, Divinity. Right? And then we have growth. Growth and divinity. Why are those two things coming up right now? Well, this should really be your focus right now. I have been meaning to make a video on like protocol for being pregnant, or like the spiritual journey of like being pregnant, like what you shouldn't be doing, what you should be doing, etc., because it's a lot. It's a lot. But right now you just need to focus on what it is that your body is doing, especially because on the spiritual side you are going through a very divine process, right? Because giving birth and creating someone inside of your body is it's a very powerful thing. One, you will be going through a lot of growth during this time, whether it be with the way you connect to your body or the way that you connect to yourself spiritually. You could be feeling very emotional or very at one with it. That's really the way that is coming out, especially with the divinity. This is a moment that is meant to really transform you. It is something that you're not going to forget either. It is something that is going to be, it's like a moment of growth. Is giving very Saturn energy, like Saturn return, you committing a little bit deeper, grounding yourself a little bit deeper in your life's experience, where now you're experiencing something that is not only something that's very grounding, but it is something that you're going to have to do a lot of growth with, and that you're also going to be watching someone literally grow right in front of you. So it's a lot. It's a lot of growth all about once. When it comes to your child, they're going to be very, very spiritually sensitive as well. Very strong, very spiritually sensitive. And you need to make sure that you nurture that as well. Nurture that as well. No, Spirit said you need to be resting. Let the process happen. You need to be resting. You need to be, don't push yourself too hard. The process that's happening right now requires you to rest, requires you to maintain your strength, requires you to focus on the magic that is happening right now. Okay. That should be your goal right now. It's really about, you're going through very much a growth process. You're going through very much an evolution. You're going through an elevation. But it is very much divine in nature. You and your child are also going to have a very, almost like a kindred kind of like energy. There might be someone that you actually met in the past too. Like you have like karmic relationships and stuff like that. You probably have connected with them in past lives as well. But this will tremendously push you to grow. Yeah, especially your heart and your head. You're going to be processing a lot. You're going to be healing a lot. There's a lot of the way the shift is happening is very, it's like a very divine destined time. That's the way the messages are coming out. That is your reading, my love. I hope that it makes sense. It's very clear, very to the point. Spirit said rest, relax, go through the process, but you're going through very much a whole entire divine process right now. Cece said, general message, any deck, please. Okay, I got you. Okay, so don't be mad, but I think the ancestors got something to say because this is the deck that they want me to use for this. For those who are just coming through, I'll give you guys the spiel again. Welcome to the weekly community oracle poll. The whole point of this live is to give you guys access to low cost readings. So that's why we're here. We're gathered here today. If you're a patron member or channel member, you can go ahead and put your question in the comment section. And just, let me know which deck you want me to use, unless you want me to pick for you. Like, I'll pick it intuitively. If you are not and you want me to pull some cards for you, just send $5 to $10 to my Cash App or Venmo, which is the same as my username. Okay. Now, with that being said, we're going to be reading from the Arcana Deck. This deck is only for shadow work, so I'll give you guys your Oracle deck options that you guys can pick from. But starting with the Arcana Deck, this deck is only for shadow work, so don't pick it if you're not trying to get yelled at. Then you got the Nature Speak Oracle deck, okay? The Wisdom from the House of Night Oracle deck. The Archangel Michael Oracle deck. The Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. The Messages from the Mermaids Oracle deck. And the Butterfly Oracle deck. This is for life changes, okay? So, with that being said, let's see what Cece's ancestors want to say, because, okay. What does Cece need to know? General messages. General messages from the ancestors. General messages from the ancestors for Cece. What does Cece need to know? Okay. What does Cece need to know? One more card for Cece. Card for Cece. Okay. They said 2 more cards. Okay. All right. This is also one of the decks that I do read from the book from, because you have to know the context of the card, but then we just talk about it. So keep that in mind as well. Do I have the Santa Muerte deck? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So the first card Hold on. There we go. Is mercurial. Okay. See that? See that? Okay. Today cannot be like tomorrow. Okay. Shadow element. To be fickle and indecisive, struggling with keeping a focus on one thing. Prone to diving headfirst into something of interest and promptly abandoning it. Very Gemini. Very Gemini. Very a lot of things. Okay. There is a difference between being spontaneous versus being unreliable. Okay. There is also a difference between needing new experiences for excitement versus escapism. This card announces the presence of instability within one's interests, follow through, and ability to complete projects or fulfill obligations. In a shadow context, this could be calling on you to take stock of your unfinished business and those loose ends. It can also be questioning why you feel the need to switch from one objective to another objective, be it travel, career, hobby, or relationships. What are you avoiding? What are you seeking that the last thing didn't fulfill? Why does sticking with something or someone bore you almost immediately? Why do you make plans and regret them after the fact? Okay. Then we have grit. So let me just get grit for a second, and then we're going to talk about all of them together because the ancestor said, okay. Grit. When a needle falls into a well, many people will go into the well, but maybe people will look into the well, but few will go down after it. Okay. Shadow element. Involving oneself in situations that do not pertain to you and taking on the accompanying responsibilities in a resentful fashion. Okay. When this card pops into a reading, it can indicate resentments you or someone may be feeling regarding situations you or someone may have inserted themselves into for no real reason other than to be involved. It is asking you to take a look to see if you are currently undergoing the stress of handling a problem or situation for someone else when it really isn't your responsibility to do so. For example, let's say you have two friends who are at odds. Once you insert yourself either at the behest of them or to take sides, you're now inserted into a quarrel that could potentially have a disastrous consequence for the relationship on both parties. This can be applied to work issues, family issues. This card is warning that inserting yourself into a problem others have with a party that is not you. It is baseless and low vibrational. It is telling you to refrain from jumping into non-serious confrontations over issues that aren't your own because it only creates a rift and discontent in your world where there should otherwise be none. Okay. And then we're going to go to the last one, which is honesty. Okay, lots of air, lots of communication, lots of things going on, right? Okay, so honesty. With the tongue, one can destroy the town and save the town. Control the tongue. Shadow element. Showing a lack of adroitness and sensitivity in dealing with others or with difficult issues, okay? Considering oneself a straight shooter, no chaser can be good at times. However, giving unsolicited advice, criticisms, or truths at the detriment of others just to seem blunt will cause rifts. There are ways to relay messages with tact and respect for the well-being of the party you speak to. This card suggests that perhaps you need to take a step back and really understand how you come across to people who navigate your life in a personal way. It may seem like people keep things from you, or that any and every conversation dissolves into a debate or an argument, but it's not as black and white as calling everyone sensitive. It is a matter of respecting the individual personalities that converse with you and realizing that there is a way to say things that leave both parties feeling heard and not disrespected. You may be feeling like someone in your life rough handles conversations with you or vice versa. You are that way with others, but a sign of overinflated ego is one in which a person a person's brashness expresses their opinion as a fact rather than examining the nuance in a diplomatic and expression of honesty. Ancestors said a lot. Listen. Okay, so so there's a lot of things going on. Okay, there's a lot of things. There's a lot. First of all, it's a lot of communication stuff. This is giving very much Mercury energy, Gemini energy, 11th house energy, 3rd house energy. This is it's a little bit of a verbal mess. It's like a hot pot of a verbal mess. You need to be very mindful of how, not only how you're communicating with others, but people who are actively trying you. People that are actively, especially when it comes to protection work right now, you need to be actively protecting yourself from people in situations that you have no business being in the first place. And that requires you to actually take a stock of how you're working with the air element, right? So when it comes to the air element, okay, air is the fastest moving element out of all of the other elements. Okay, air is really, really, really fast. I'm doing it right now. I'm talking to you guys, right? Like, it's happening as I am talking. Air is the fastest moving element. It is as fast as you taking in a breath and breathing out. Okay, it is the fastest moving element. Because it is the fastest moving element, it is the element that we see the most issues and the fastest issues. Okay, so for example, this is why Mercury retrograde can be a shit show, because there's miscommunication that happens, there's misunderstanding that happens, right? There's people who are, will advocate for themselves or be speaking out of their own ego, and then not be generally like looking at the conversation in actually coming to terms or being in one page with each other. It will end up being like, oh no, I'm just telling you how it is, and what it is facts, right? You have to look at it from especially when we're having conversations with people. There's a reason why the air signs, there's a reason why Libra is an air sign, why the sign of balance, okay? Why the sign of balance is an air sign, okay? This is, if you look at all of the air signs, they all have to do with how we relate to each other. Okay, how we relate to each other. You have Gemini, ruling communication, right, and consciousness. You have Aquarius, ruling society, friends, the collective. Okay, you have Libra, ruling justice, balance, interpersonal relationships. Okay, enemies. Okay, it is not as simple as when it comes to communication and how we relate to each other. It is very instant. There's a lot of things that happen in the moment, words that are said in the moment that could be hurtful, that could feel very dense, that could feel like we're, trying to process a lot. It's not just one thing. It's not just one-sided. It's not just, it's an experience. It's an experience. And right now where you're struggling the most is the air element. Okay. There's a lot of the way the communication is happening is, one, not balanced. Two, is a lot. There's some deception at hands as well. It's like there's certain things that don't even need to be said. That's kind of the other thing about it. It's like there's definitely someone. It could either be you or it could be people around you that are just literally starting shit just to start shit, and they're allowed to kind of do this because you keep them around. So that's kind of the other thing. You need to be practicing a hefty amount of protection work. If you're navigating and moving from the air element, you need to be doing protection work. Everybody should be doing protection work. I cannot stress it enough. But if you are very much focused within the air elements energies, you need to be doing protection work, because what's going to happen is egos, misunderstandings, people being narcissists, people trying it, people actively using you as a pawn against others. Like it can literally turn into like 5 million things. It could literally turn into 5 million things for no good reason. Okay, no good reason. It is really, really important to not allow things that don't sit right with you, not allow them to continue to brew and just kind of take up space. There needs to be a whole ass air cleansing. Like you need to do a whole entire because there's too much manipulation. There's a lot of gossipy stuff going on too, which really highlights the protection work that needs to be done, because it's like, why is it happening? Why is it happening? What is the why is it necessary? Is it necessary? No? Then why are we doing it? Right? It's the mind. It's where the energy is being placed, and is being honest about the situation. And mindful, if you're be mindful if you're not in a situation where you're over here kikiing with your friends or kikiing with others and like talking shit about something, but you know that's not you, then it's being done against you. Like there's some people who are actively just like, you do not escape their mouth, which is really frustrating and annoying when it comes to the energy that then it's around you. So the next podcast that I'm working on is literally about enemies. So you guys will get that when I post it, because I have to finish recording it and finish editing it. But we're going to be talking about enemies because I feel like it's important to talk about, and keeping that energy around. You need to be very mindful of, one, the protection work that you're doing, two, who you have around you that can actively be talking about you, or also how you are mismanaging your voice right now. Okay, how you're mismanaging your own voice, you being honest with yourself about how much energy you're putting into something that's not actually even benefiting you in the first place. You needing to do more work with yourself, especially when you're communicating and connecting to others. You looking at your ego and what you want out of different situations and what it is that you're not getting. Okay, what it is that you're not getting from people. Okay, you looking at ultimately your journey with your voice. Okay, your journey with your voice, your journey with what it is that you are experiencing when you're communicating with others, when you're when you're in the rooms with other people, when you're at work, when you're like king, when you're with family. You need to also look at how the energy you're building with these people, with those conversations, what good is it doing in the moment? Especially when it comes to talking shit. I love to talk shit here and there. It just be fun. But it comes to a point where even I am like, okay, I'm bored. I need to just not, like, what is the point of me even talking about this right now? Right? It's just, you need to be mindful of how you're using your voice, because your voice, this right here, you need to do a lot of healing there. And you also need to reassess who you're keeping around you. Especially because it's with the grit card is very much is giving fake friends. It's giving fake friends. It's very much like, oh, tell me what's going on, so I could just be like, well, I tell you so. I don't like it. And I think this is why the ancestors wanted me to pick this deck. I swear, every time we do the Arcana deck is like, Lord. But I warn y'all, don't pick this deck unless, well, you didn't pick it. But ancestors did, but don't pick this deck if you're not trying to like you're not trying to get red to the but I hope that you got all of the messages that you needed. Should I get initiated, you pick the deck. Well, first of all, I have to say this disclaimer because I have to say it. But when it comes to getting initiated, I don't know what you're trying to get initiated to, because initiated is still a global, it's a global thing that can be applied to so many different things. But if it's to an ATR, it's the reading that you get that will tell you. Not this reading, I'm talking about like, okay. But I will pick cards for guidance anyway, but I'm just letting you know that you have to traditionally go on and get that reading and everything. With that being said, we're gonna pick the Nature Speak Oracle. Because why not? Because why not? Okay. Hold on. Okay. And just to remind everybody who just came on, after Lana, I believe someone sent me something on my Cash App. So we're gonna do the other person. But I don't see them on here. So if you are, hold on, let me just scroll the thing down. If you are Gwen, put your question in the comments and which deck you want me to use. If you are just getting here, we're going to be here for another 20 minutes. So if you would like me to pull some cards for you, you can just send $5 to $10 to my Cash App or Venmo. If you're a channel member or Patreon member, just put your question in the comments below. Okay, so Lana, should Lana get initiated? Should not. Bottom of the deck is Awakening Dreams. I think subconsciously this is something that you definitely want for yourself. So the first card that you have is Harvest and Sow. Then you have Move and Adapt. My Cash App is the same as my username, OkaniLuna. Then we have Love and Healing. Okay. This is the thing about this question, is that it's very much complex. The first card kind of tells you everything that you need to know. When it comes to certain decisions, like life decisions that you will make for yourself, it's going to be something that it's as much as you put in is how much you're going to be getting out as well. This is why you're getting Harvest and Sow. You have to plant that seed. You have to say, okay, I want to do this. This type of thing, like if you're talking about the thing that I think that you're talking about, when it comes to initiation, it's not a half-ass thing. It is not something that you can change your mind about after you went through the whole process. Okay. So when it comes to Harvest and Sow, when you're harvesting, when you are actively, you planted the seeds, you said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to commit to, right? You can't just take the seed out of the ground while it's already growing. Like that's just not how it works, right? So you have to be very mindful of that. This is a life commitment. Okay, this is a very transformative life commitment. And I'm not saying sorry. You said 10. Oh yeah, $5 to $10 in my Cash App or Venmo. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not saying, oh, run or anything. I'm not saying any of that. I mean, I will tell you to make sure you're doing your research, that you connect with other members of the community, different elders before you commit to or with a specific person or specific, house. You want to make sure that you actively know who you are working with, because that commitment is going to be for the rest of your life. So you're gonna make sure you covered your bases. There are certain people in the community that are like scammers and shit. So you have to be very careful of who you are, okay, connecting with for this. But know that once you commit to yourself to this, you can't just take it back. You can't just change your mind, because it is a life commitment. It is a very serious process, very serious ceremonies, very serious time investment, financial investment. It's not just one thing. It's a multitude of multiple things. But you are getting love and healing, which means that you are going to be going through not only a very transformative experience, but you'll also be able to heal yourself in a way that you haven't been able to before. And that's kind of one of the things about that, is that it can be very healing. I know a lot of people that have healed so many different things just by going through the initiation process and committing themselves. Like it can be very, very, very healing, which is really amazing, that, you have access to things like this, right? But it's important to understand that the journey is ultimately going to bring you a lot of love and healing. But you need to make sure that you are going to commit to it. It does seem like bottom of the deck because you have awakening dreams. Like it's something that you might have been subconsciously wanting to do for a while. But now it's like, okay, make the decision. Are you going to commit to this or not? Are you going to commit to this or not? Right? Is this something that you're ultimately you feel very, very much resonates with you? And this is what I mean by make sure you cross all of the checklists, like check in with your elders, check in with like ask other people who are also part of the same house, same community, like how do they feel about it? How do they you know, how do they work with it? How do they what advice they can give you? Like don't just, you know, say, okay, yeah, I'm doing it like today. Like you should take your time in figuring out how you want to do this, okay? Because there's so many different ways to go about this. Like even when it comes to getting initiated, like do you want to get initiated in Africa? That is different than getting initiated in Cuba, for example, or like in Miami. There's different ways, there's different elders. You have to do the legwork. You can't just think it's going to be an easy process or it's going to be a unifying kind of singular process. You need to do the legwork. Whatever, especially with the harvest and sow, if you do half-ass research, half-ass, and you just send your money to whoever, and it's like, okay, yes, I'm just gonna do this, and you don't do what you need to do, you might not, you know, harvest the correct thing. So keep that in mind. But it does feel like you are gonna go on that journey, though. Like if you choose it for yourself, you will come out with a lot of love and healing, which is beautiful at the end of the day. I mean, like I feel like that's a very beautiful like way to approach it. Like it's not something that is a journey that will take effort, but if you make that effort, can be very beautiful overall. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you got the messages that you needed. With that said, we're going to be doing Gwen's reading, but where is Gwen? Wait, I'm trying to figure out, because everybody sometimes they have different names on their thing. They have like names on their username on YouTube is different than their username on like Cash App or Venmo. So it can be a little complicated. You're Gwen. Okay. Wait. I'm not sure who Gwen is. Somebody saw. Oh, we found Gwen. Is Miss Hello Kitty. Okay. Message from the ancestors. Any deck you're drawn to. Okay, we found Gwen, y'all. We have found it, Gwen. Okay. So Gwen, and then after Gwen, we're going to do. Wait, who was next after Gwen? I think it was Gwen. No. Okay. Gwen. Okay, so then after Gwen is okay. Okay, the chat is bouncing, so we're gonna figure out who's after Gwen afterwards. Okay, we're gonna figure that out. Okay. Gwen, message from the ancestors, any deck you're drawn to. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you too must be getting the ancestors must have something to say, Gwen, because literally I was looking over here and like they were like so we're just gonna okay, we're just gonna do that now. Gwen, what does Gwen, oh sorry, I closed this. What does Gwen need to know? Ooh. What does Gwen need to know? Wait, hold on. Oh, There we go. Okay. And one more card. What does Gwen... That was 2 cards. Okay. One more card. What does Gwen need to know? What does Gwen need to know? What does Gwen need to know? Oh. What does Gwen need to know? Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, bottom of the deck is reconcile. Love yourself, for only then can you love others. Whew. Okay. All right. So let me just grab the page numbers real quick. So we have wait. Okay. Wicked. Okay. One who sows the seeds of hatred will see their children harvest their fruits. Shadow element. Having absolutely no balance between the dark and the light and not striving to. Okay. Where this good, there's a drop of bad. And where there is bad, there's a drop of good. You cannot have a light without the dark and vice versa, because you need both for divine balance between positive and negative energy. This card suggests that you are out of sync with the importance of maintaining balance between these two, favoring picking a side. Of course, you don't have to deal in only darkness, because it can reap unsavory consequences, but only dealing in the light can leave the inexperienced unprepared to protect themselves in the event that it is necessary. This card, more than anything, is a call to action to assess why you have made the spiritual decisions you have made and how they have panned out thus far. Do not mistake total balance 24/7. It is not a realistic process for most, when there are so many causes to sway one way or the other. However, trying to maintain a semblance of it is key. Okay, balance. Okay, here we go. The next one is energy. Okay, energy. Do not lose your head, because you will lose yourself. Shadow element. Showing immersed passion but refusing to plan ahead or working on the foundation. Fundamentally pulling the cart before the horse. The first step in creating a painting is drawing and planning the outlines, the composition, and setting down a base layer. The energy card suggests to you that you can be rather idealistic and oftentimes harbor a lot of passion for those ideals. However, you jump headfirst into trying to cover all the bases before deciding what the bases are. This card is a card of irrationality. It is a card that shows that you may pick up unfounded frustrations when your projects, relationships, or the like don't quite pan out the way that it looked in your mind's eye. It is a message that asks you to take time out and plan. Recognize the importance of laying down the groundwork to have a stable foundation before you build on your utopia on it, and to refrain from projecting your own unwavering image of perfection on a work in progress. It is asking you to acknowledge the delays sometimes happens, and sometimes things look different in the physical than they do in the mental, as well as being realistic that things take time. This can manifest in relationships that aren't what you initially projected and imagined that they would be, or failed business ventures that lacked a fleshed out business plan. It is asking you to take a moment to be a bit practical and consider all aspects that you can and cannot control and act accordingly. Okay. Then we have Vex. Okay. Vex. There is fire within and fire without. Shadow element. Harboring jealousy or comparing oneself to others. Comparison is a thief of joy. Whether it's comparing material success, perceived spiritual alignment, social popularity, talent, etc., this card suggests that you or someone may fall to prey to comparing oneself to others in a way that is not motivational, but instead harmful. While it is not easy to admit to oneself when they feel jealous, it is present when they're feeling when the feeling of sadness or anger rears their heads, and the announcement that others are receiving the good fortune that one may believe they deserve. This can manifest itself by downplaying the good news people share, riding the coattails of your friend's success to claim a piece of the pie, or visibly shutting down when good things happen to others. Jealousy is a common human emotion as anything else, and ignoring its existence doesn't hide its manifestations in everyday life. This card could be asking, how was the negative emotions that bubbled up from comparison manifested in your actions or negative self image? How has comparison affected your relationships? Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack there. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, a lot of this is stemming from lacking balance. Okay, lacking balance, and because there's a lack in balance, it is something that not only has been taken from your energy, but it's the way that you're investing energy, can also be very draining. And so it's easy when you're not in balance. It's very easy to look at others and look at what everybody else got going on and be like, oh, why can't I just do that? Why can't I have that? It's funny because at times that is a really easy way to set goals, right, for yourself, and to have some sort of um general consensus of goals that you need to have or goals that you want to have for yourself. But then at the same time, while you can say, oh, that person, I don't know, they went to Bali and they looked like they have a great vacation. I want to do something like that. I want to go and like go on vacation and relax. There's a difference between that and being jealous or sending energy or being kind of stuck in a space where you're just like resenting um because you are not in that same experience, that you are either less than or just kind of feeding into like the negativity of how that feels like to not have what it is that you want in the moment, but seeing someone else have it as well. um you need to be mindful of how you are spending your energy. Okay, be mindful of how you're spending your energy. Be mindful of where your energy is going to, um because it feels like you're navigating something that at its core doesn't feel good, doesn't emotionally feel good. Um, but it stems from you not being in balance. That's really where it comes from. It's the you not being in balance. It's you not being in balance. The lack of balance is making you look at things from a different perspective. It's making you kind of look at your life or look at others and feel like because they're going through something, or because you might want to experience something that they might have gone through or they have, or like they want going on. It can ultimately be, it's draining. It mirrors a lot of pain that you have. um it's a misplacement of your energy, and it's also like there's hate there. There's hate involved. It feels like instead of focusing on it on like as a way of like, okay, you know what, that sounds like something I want to try. It's like, oh my god, I don't have that. I wish I had that. Why can't I just have that? And then instead of turning it into a goal, it turns into something that you can resent yourself for not having. And then just looking at others as a idealistic way to live instead of actively looking at how you can move forward and strive for those things that you want for yourself. There is a misplacement of energy. You need to balance out your energy, because the imbalance of energy is what's creating a lot of weight, a lot of unbalanced conversations, a lot of it's internally can be a lot of pain, and it might be disguised as something else. It could be disguised as shame or disguised as you not feeling happy with yourself, or you not feeling satisfied with yourself, or you constantly not feeling like you can have gratitude with what your life is at, because it doesn't look exactly like those that you might idealize. Um, it's heavy energy. It's not, it's not, uh, you have to really analyze how it is that you see your life, um, how the imbalances that you have within your life, the things that you're trying to work through and navigate ultimately, um, how the imbalances are kind of misappropriating the energy that should be used elsewhere, because that's also where this is coming from, the energy card. Um, because there is a lack in balance, what is not in balance is causing other aspects of your life to end up kind of draining you in a way, energetically wise, when you're kind of like either more sluggish or tired, or feeling um like all of your energy or all of your focus is not necessarily on one thing. It might make you very distracted as well, which can ultimately have you, look at your life and be like, oh, I want this for myself, or I want that, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had that, but then not being in a space where you're actively working towards it, but being in a space where it's like you wish you were there, but you're not. But then what are you doing to get there? That is really the question for this reading. That's really the question for this reading. The energy is being misplaced. This is what I want you to take from this reading. The energy is being misplaced, and there's a lack of balance. Because there's a lack of balance, the energy is not being used correctly, and it can lead to a lot of internalized internalized kind of fogginess is the word that I'm going to choose. I feel like that one's the best one to kind of explain. It's internalized fogginess, where you yourself are not really quite clear on how to navigate it, um how to get out of it. It almost feels like you're also stuck. Or maybe it's just something that you've been used to for a while. Like the energy, the way that the energy is being used, like you're just used to navigating a world exactly in this way, um not realizing that is actually causing you a lot of harm. So there's ego work that needs to be done, but it also feels like you need to be a little bit more clear with yourself. It feels like you need to get a little bit more clear about what it is that how you want to move forward, honestly, but also the state of mind that you're moving forward in, like how you are actively changing the direction, changing the narrative, instead of being stuck in the same thing, actively, looking at the possibilities of what you can add, what you can do, what is it that, like, moving forward. Like, one of the things that I really hate, especially as a cardinal sign, I cannot stress this enough. As a Capricorn, okay, I cannot stress this enough. I absolutely hate when people complain a lot about one thing. Like, I'll take one complaint, right? Okay, this is the problem. When you're as a Capricorn, when you are complaining to a Capricorn, you're basically at the end of the day telling me to find a solution. To everybody else is like, oh, okay. To me, it's just like, okay, what is going to be done about it? Right? Because cardinal signs is like action based, right? We're thinking action. We're thinking, okay, here's a problem. Where's the solution? What is being done? What are we doing with it? Where is it going? So to me, when it comes to, okay, this is a problem, or this is, you know, the issue that I'm having. This is what I want to do, X, Y, and Z. And then I'm just gonna be like, okay, so what's the game plan? We could do this, we could try that, we could do this. Like, it's not just about sitting on your ass and being like, okay, yeah, I need balance. I feel like I keep getting that message. I need balance. Okay, but how are you getting there? What is the game plan? How will you be applying X, Y, Z, and B? So that, you know, solutions, right? I'm very much a solution based. Like, you tell me the problem, I'm like, okay, so why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? Why don't we? Because I don't care enough to kind of sit on energy and then not doing something about it. It's kind of like being in a moment where you're just like, you're sick, you know you're sick, and you're just telling everybody else that you're sick instead of taking medicine. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So you need to do some reevaluating. You need to focus on, you know, how you've been spending your energy, and how things are draining you. That's really the big one. That is really the big one. So we're gonna do, I believe, Elizabeth next. That is the next reading that we're doing. That's the last reading that we're doing. Because we did it a little bit over like an hour already, but we're going to do Elizabeth's reading next, and then we are going to sign off for the night. As always, you guys know these readings are first come, first serve, so you guys already know. But for Elizabeth, go ahead and tell me what question you have, unless you want it to be a general reading, and which oracle deck you want me to pick from, unless you want me to pick for you. If you want to pick the deck, these are your deck options. You have the Archangel Michael oracle deck, the Sacred Symbols oracle deck, the Messages from the Mermaids oracle deck, the Butterfly of Life Changes oracle deck, the Okana oracle deck. Only pick this card if you're trying to do shadow work, because Lord. The Nature Speak oracle deck, and the Wisdom from the House of Knights oracle deck. Those are the options. Those are the current options. So let me know which one you want me to pick from. So I can't see my, well, let me see if I can go then to see the Venmo then, because I can't see it. How will my work trip go? What's going to happen? Okay. So those are 2 questions. So the reading's for 1 question, but I'm going to just pull one for the 1 question and one for the other. So you said the nature one. Okay. So you said, how will your work trip go? And how will it go between you and Jay? Okay. For Elizabeth, how will the work trip go? How will the work trip go? Okay. And wait, hold on. And then the second question is, what's going to happen between you and, okay. What's going to happen between Elizabeth and Jay? What's going to happen between Elizabeth and Jay? What's going to happen? Okay. Okay, very, very interesting. So the first card that you have, this one specifically for the work trip, transition and initiation, and then this is why I was giving you a funny face. You got sexual energy. Is somebody going on this work trip with you? Because why is that coming out that way? And as far as what's going to happen between you and Jay, you got static conditions. Okay, so let us talk about this. Okay, so when it comes to the trip itself, it can be something that ultimately can lead you having a promotion or actually moving up in the company in some way. Like, the taking responsibility and how well you do will definitely have a big influence on what comes next for you and the growth that you're going to have. That is very, very, very clear. Now, this is where I'm like, Are you going on this trip alone? I have questions now. I have questions. Now, a couple of things. One, especially for this trip alone, you can actively do some sensual magic to push over the promotion, or like the benefits that is going to come from you, doing well, and you know doing what you're doing well at work. With this trip, this could be something that you can ultimately manifest some growth, manifest, a new opportunity, a new role, new projects. Like, you can definitely do that. Especially when it comes to doing some sensual magic. I cannot describe that on TikTok nor on YouTube because I will get literally bans. But if you don't know how to do sensual magic or sacral magic, um, look it up. Look it up. Okay. With that being said, if that is not that, and this is you going on a trip, a work trip with someone else, like it's not just you going on there. Let's say is Jay going with you, for example. There will be a lot of sexual tension in this trip. But the thing about the second part of the question, which was, what's going to happen with you and Jay, it's static conditions, which means that it's not going to be clear. The relationship itself is not going to be clear. There's going to be some, it's like very hot and heavy energy. And you might just end up getting like iced out at the end of it. Like, it's not grounded. It doesn't have a grounded basis. Like, you can actually like it's going to go somewhere, like committed wise. It feels very hot and cold. Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. That's literally what's coming into my head. It's very hot and cold energy. It's like, when I need you, I'll use you energy. That's the way that is coming up. Which can be confusing when you're having like hot and cold moments with someone, because then it's just like, okay, there's an intensity, right? An obvious intensity, but then there's like a coldness that comes after that doesn't make sense. I get that, like I feel you, but it's definitely static conditions. What I will tell you is that you need to, in those moments where things get cold, you need to not put all of your energy in that one basket. You need to really focus on yourself, and not, especially for the things that are coming your way, like the different opportunities that are coming your way. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket, and don't also put all your energy into this one person. Don't hyperfixate, don't tunnel vision. This is not that type of, it doesn't feel like it's that type of connection. It just feels like it's a very hot and heavy and then cold energy. So don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I don't recommend it. I think it's important for you to, stay open, to still focus on yourself, but see it as what it is. Don't add any layers. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be like catching feelings when that's not what the parameters were set for. Okay. That is your reading, my love. That was a very, very interesting energy overall. Very interesting energy overall. But thank you guys. Thank you to everybody for coming to the weekly community oracle poll. For those who are going to want to replay this video, especially for those on TikTok, because TikTok does not allow you to replay lives, this will be on my YouTube. So make sure you go to my YouTube channel, go subscribe, do all of the things. But it will be on my YouTube, available for replay at any time, which is why we do the lives in multiple ways, because I always want to give you guys access to replay everything. That's why even like for the Patreon members, like you guys have access to all of my past workshops through Patreon, because I don't want to waste the workshop that I did. That's a lot of talking that your girl did. You might as well have access to it, right? So that's something that's super, super important to me overall, for you guys to be able to replay stuff, especially if you miss it. Sometimes you're not always present. You need that time. With that said, I love you guys. I will see y'all in the next one. Don't forget, if you want a reading with me, my website, I'm having a special. All of my readings are 50% off with the code "This is Halloween" in all caps. So definitely take advantage of it if you want to work with me. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you guys for being here. Bye.